Hello, dear friends. Welcome everyone for this 6-week master course on living in coherence. This program has been organized by Pyramid Valley International, and our dear mentor, Sai Kripa Sagar sir, will be hosting this 6-week program with the complete team, and we are glad enough to listen from him. In the previous years, he has been teaching about the mind to matter session. It had a very huge response, and now we have come up with this 6-week course, the master course. As you all know, Pyramid Valley International is a central nucleus of Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement, which was started by Brahmarshi Patriji in the year 1990. As part of the mission to spread the word of meditation, pyramid energy, spiritual science, and vegetarianism, we have been organizing a lot of sessions, spiritual sessions, on the online as well as residential programs. As part of that, we are all here in this session today to know about the coherence. Sagar sir, who has been into this spiritual science world from the past 18 years, he has been the eager seeker to learn new things. He's an ardent meditator, and he always had a fascination of taking the help of science to get into the meditative field easily. There are a lot of people who have been waiting to understand the science behind each happening. In that manner, we will be learning many scientific facts and how it works, and through that, how we can transform our life. With all those wonderful techniques, Sai Kripa Sagar sir will be holding us for the next 6 weeks. So this program will be a Saturday event. This happens every Saturday for the next 6 weeks, which is the first week is done, which is the next 5 weeks. So please do follow it. And there are some people who have been asking about the recording. Yes, this program is being relayed live in the Pyramid Valley YouTube channel. So in case you want to listen to the session again, please feel free to access it. And of course, when we go for these scientific facts, few terms, we need to habituate ourselves, and it would be really good if you can listen to the session again to understand it better. With that, I welcome Sagar sir.
All right. Namaste, my dear friends. Namaste, masters. Thank you very much, Shalini.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible enough?
Yes, sir.
No sound disturbance. Okay. So welcome. Good evening to people in India, and good morning to people in the US. Good afternoon to people in Europe. So it's nice to host all of you in another brand new program of Pyramid Valley International. As Shalini mentioned, Pyramid Valley, though, is an international meditation center. We host lakhs of meditators here in our pyramid. We do a lot of programs. A lot of people come here for sadhana, and we listen to, I would say, thousands of experiences throughout the year. So people coming here doing their sadhana, and then people going through these programs. So based on that, that's kind of a research field. Based on that, and Brahmarshi Patriji's instruction or guidance about reading books is where we do all our programs. And then if you look at it, every program that we did has something new that you wouldn't have seen elsewhere. In this case, this program about consciousness and coherence is again brand new. And we'll talk about a lot of topics you may not have heard about elsewhere. And it's again broad-based. It's not just about meditation. It's not just about yoga. But it's about discovering yourself. It's about understanding what makes us tick and understanding how do we walk that path to magnificence. All right. So with that, let me quickly talk about a few things before we dive into the course. So before that, before that, let me just do a chat. Can you please type in your chat window from where you are, the location you are from? I'm just looking at the chat window. So please have your chat window ready. There are quite a few questions that you need to answer. Okay, Bangalore, Mumbai, Iowa, Gujarat, UK, Malaysia, Indonesia, Punjab, Atlanta, US, Chandigarh, Rajkot, Mumbai, Noida, Canada, Pune, Andhra, Anand, Gujarat, Goa, wonderful. Chennai, Trivandrum, Secunderabad, San Francisco, New Jersey, someone from France, Colorado, US, Madhya Pradesh. Very good, wonderful. And another question, how many of you are not aware of Pyramid Valley International or PSSM? Just type no. If you are new. Okay, so there are quite a few new people here. All right. So thank you, friends. That's good. We'll come back to the chat window in a while. So for those of you who are new to Pyramid Valley International and PSSM, so Pyramid Valley International Bengaluru is a 30-acre international meditation retreat located south of Bangalore city in Karnataka in India. And as you see the picture here, this is like an aerial view of the place, completely immersed in greenery with that 110 feet high pyramid, which is 160 feet by 160 feet. It can hold 5,000 people for meditation at a time. It has a wonderful king's chamber, which kind of gives meditators a boost with the cosmic energy. So people meditating at king's chamber with it 2/3 the height from the base of the pyramid, people get into deep meditative states very fast. As you know, the only product that people experience here is meditation, and then meditation in nature. And this has been around since 2005. So the last 17 to 18 years, we've been having this place. So lakhs of people have come and meditated. The energies of the meditators, energies of the place are immense. And that is why a lot of people come and stay here and undergo a set of transformations that experience. I mean, a lot of new meditators over the last couple of years, especially during the pandemic, a lot of new meditators come in here, attend the programs, and then at the end of a week, they are experiencing a new themselves, new you, right? So, and then there are places for accommodation. People come and stay here overnight. People can stay for a few days, a week, 10 days, the different classes of accommodation, dormitory, deluxe rooms, standard rooms, and luxury rooms. And we'll talk about more about the projects as we go along. We serve food free. We have the Annadhana dining hall. We have a Nitya Annadhana scheme. So any meditator walks in, they can do meditation free. The entry is free, meditation free of charge. You can learn meditation from some of the teachers inside the campus and have food, continue meditation, or if they want to stay, they pay a nominal charge for the accommodation. So that is Brahmarshi Patriji's, who's the founder of Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement. His vision that there be so many pyramid ashrams built all over the place. This is the first mega pyramid. Mega pyramid is any pyramid of size 100 feet by 100 feet, beyond 100 feet by 100 feet. This is the first mega pyramid built in the movement. And then now there are quite a few other mega pyramids. There's one similar one in Hyderabad, outskirts of Hyderabad, around 30 kilometers from the Hyderabad airport, and several others coming in different places, and a lot of other pyramids. We have close to, I would say, 10,000 odd pyramids in India and across the world. So basically, pyramids provide you the right environment for meditation. And there's a science behind it. If possible, we'll cover that in one of the classes. So welcome to, and then we're all part of the Pyramid Valley team, which do these programs and also kind of help you settle down in Valley in any of the experiences. All right. And as I said, as Shalini mentioned as well, so we started this Coherence project a few months ago. This project is about sharing wisdom in a spiritual, scientific manner. And I come from a corporate background, and I am an engineer by profession, an IT guy by profession. I've done my PhD in international business, so I come from a rational science and engineering kind of a background. So to me, a lot of things appeal only when there is a science, when I understand the science behind it. So this project is about understanding things, understanding meditation, understanding spirituality, understanding transformation, understanding consciousness from a scientific perspective and sharing so that people get that really fast and then start applying it to themselves. So there is this website called coherentminds.org. We publish a weekly newsletter called Coherent Minds, and it contains science-based articles and also Patriji's messages. And this Coherence project is basically, here are the masters that we base our wisdom and science and sharing on. And you can see all that in the coherenceminds.org page. Of course, foremost is Brahmarshi Patriji, who pioneered or who kind of brought forth the spiritual scientific mentality. And he reads a lot of books, tons. I mean, he's read thousands of books, and he also kind of maybe a lack of books, but he's also recommended most of the books. And then all the others that you see here were recommended by him. And then we have ancient masters like Maharishi Patanjali and Harold Percival, great authors, great classics by them. And then several other new age spiritual science masters who kind of have done a lot of research, who kind of written several books. And most of the wisdom, most of the sessions that we do is based on these authors. And of course, there are tons of other authors also we bank on, but we just don't take the knowledge from them and then give it to you. It's also about some of us practicing it and taking it forward. All right. So with that, let's dive into the session today. Before I get you onto the chat window. So the course is titled Living in Coherence, and then we're going to have 6 Saturday sessions. Every day, every Saturday around this time for 2 hours. And the format is pretty much 1 hour. We'll try and restrict the talk to 1 hour. And then we'll do half an hour of meditation. And again, there'll be special guided meditation related to that particular topic that day. And half an hour to 40 minutes. And then we'll leave 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A. There may be times when some of it might be, but definitely there will be a talk. There will be a meditation session, guided meditation session, and there will be time for Q&A, and we will definitely strive to complete it within the 2 hours. I know it is Saturday evening and Saturday morning and afternoon for most of you. And the recordings of these will be available on YouTube. So please do revisit those if you want, or you can forward those to other people. All right. So today's topic is why consciousness matters. And as I said, this course is about a top-down or inside-out course. Usually we talk about outside in, right? Why is my mind like this? Why am I faced with difficulties and all that? But this is a top-down or inside-out course. It starts from consciousness. It talks about why. So it talks about what is consciousness, different perspectives of consciousness. That's what we'll cover today. And then why is it very difficult to be aligned with our consciousness? So that's how we talk about from inside out. And then what are the issues? What are the difficulties to be conscious all the time? And then over the next few weeks, we will cover several techniques, several models of consciousness, a lot of breathwork technique, a lot of meditation technique, a lot of mind work techniques over the next 6 weeks, right? And today, this is what we'll cover. What is consciousness? Different perspectives on consciousness. Why is it difficult to be aligned with our consciousness always? And why is an understanding of consciousness important? Why are you all here? Why am I even talking about consciousness? So that is what we will cover today, the next hopefully 45 to 50 minutes. So let's go to this billion-dollar question. What is consciousness? Now, here is where I'd want your input. I want to understand, what do you think is consciousness? If you can type a few words, a sentence in the chat window, it'll help us understand the perspective of consciousness, your perspective of consciousness. What is consciousness? Prana Shakti. awareness, state of living, something which may happen in future. Okay, can we have more life force? Yeah, that's what Prana Shakti is. Being aware, being present and awareness, mindfulness, energy, living in present, ability to know what work we are on, awareness of being alive, being in present moment, okay, Atma, the essence that you are alive, which is in control of divine force, presence of mind, focus on one thing at a time, concentrating on work, what we are doing, drop of light source, awareness of truth, state where you take action, mindfulness, awakening ourselves, knowing what we are doing. Very good. Brahman, all-encompassing state, living in the present. All right. So that's a good spectrum of responses. So we'll stop there. I've closed the chat window here. So we'll get to the definition of consciousness in a minute. But then I want to kind of, consciousness is all about experience, subjective experience, right? We'll get to a definition of consciousness. Before that, I want you to experience different stages on how conscious you are, right? So as Anil Seth is a British neuroscientist, he's written several books on consciousness. And there are various definitions of consciousness, both from a spirituality perspective, from a neuroscience perspective. We'll address some of those, but next week we're going to cover more of the different models of consciousness as well. So consciousness is first and foremost about subjective experience. Some of you said living in the moment. It's not something like Shakti. It's not like energy, right? It's about an experience. You experience being conscious. So consciousness is first and foremost about subjective experience. It is about phenomenology. You can Google the word phenomenology. What it means is it varies from person to person. It's subjective and varies from person to person. What I am conscious of, what I'm experiencing right now is very different from somebody else. It'll be very different from someone who sits right next to me as well, right? And so before we go into the definition of consciousness, I want to go through some scenarios. Usually consciousness is always associated with our perception of being conscious. We are conscious of something. When I am talking right now, I am conscious of the words. I'm conscious of what I need to mention. Similarly, you are hearing me, you are listening to this course. So you are conscious of something, but at the same time, something else probably could be happening in your mind, right? So here are some scenarios. When you're angry, when you're fearful, when you're frustrated, how conscious are we? Are we fully conscious? When I say fully conscious, you're using your complete conscious capacity. Someone mentioned mindfulness, right? Are you completely focused on what you are doing when you go through one of these emotions? Anger, fear, frustration, pain, right? So anything, or dislike, I don't like this, oh my God, I'm having to do this now. So what happens? You are not, there is some amount of emotion that clouds your consciousness, right? You're not able to, when you're angry, are you able to take the right decisions? No. So when you are afraid, are you able to take right decision? There is some amount of fear lurking in your consciousness, right? You could call it subconscious, conscious, whatever it is, but you are not fully conscious when you are in any of those emotional states. Agreed? I want you to experience the time when you felt any of these emotions and then think about whether you are conscious or not. Similarly, when you undergo some mental state, when you are deeply analyzing, when you are thinking about this decision or that decision, or when you are confused about something, are you conscious, completely conscious? No. When you're regretful about something, oh my God, I shouldn't have done it. That keeps on sitting in some part of your brain. So you're not completely mindful, you're not completely present. Right? So there is some amount of things that are clouding your mind, that are fogging your mind, right? So you're not completely conscious during any of these mental states, but these states are different from when you have an emotion, when you have a frustration, when you have a anger. Similarly, when we are sick, Are we completely conscious? Can we do some very focused, intense work when we have very simple thing like cold? Oh my God, it's so annoying, right? And you have headache, you have severe pain, you have fever. I'm sure all of us have gone through some of these over the last couple of years, right? And you have bedridden. If someone comes and gives you something to work completely conscious, you will not be able to do because you don't have the capacity. Your brain cannot think because body is taking away a lot of those energy, right? So the consciousness during when you are sick is totally different from the consciousness that you have when you are angry, and the consciousness that when you are in deep analysis, when you're regretting something or you're worrying about something, you're anxious about something. You get an idea, right? So that is what we are getting to consciousness about. And then again, when we are under serious pressure, I know some of our kids are going through examination time. So when you have an exam coming up, when you have an interview, are you completely conscious? Because you're always thinking about it, right? And you're not, if you're giving some other activity, you'll not be as conscious to do that work than this. So there is something else happening in your mind, right? Your conscious capacity. And then you have some new meeting, you're going to meet someone new. So your mind always has that thing in your consciousness saying that, oh, what is it they're going to do? There is some thoughts, there's something happening in your consciousness. So the consciousness when you're under serious pressure is different compared to when you are looking forward to someone, right? And obviously consciousness when you are happy, it's much better, right? So you are so in the moment. You are enjoying food with a friend. You are meeting a friend, or you're meeting a friend for some time, for the first time, or you're helping someone. Just the fact that you've given someone who's in need, either money or some bit of information, or helping them also, you get into a different state of consciousness, right? So it is very different from the time when you have an emotion, from the time when you are deeply analysis or you're deeply regretting something, or even when you are expecting some serious thing to happen. So you can see it's all, if you kind of subject yourself to, okay, when did that happen, right? And similarly, think about the time when you're overjoyed, when you're completely peaceful. Could be some successful achievement, could be an unexpected gift someone gave you, or something synchronistically happened. Oh my God, I just bumped into that guy who and I studied in school some 30 years ago, right? So that moment, the consciousness is totally different, right? So you are aware, you can recollect some of those incidents really, whereas compared to some other incidents. Why is it? We will talk more about that. So there are different states. Each of these are different states of a consciousness, right? I mean, some of you can associate with brain, mind, whatever it is, but our degree of consciousness varies across each of these. And the very simple fact is, can you remember that? Can you, when you are angry and doing some work, can you remember the work, or can you remember your anger? When you're happy and doing the work, can you remember the work, or when you are happy? So it's more the latter. When you're happy, peaceful, overjoyed, you'll be able to focus more and remember that work compared to when you are emotionally different. So consciousness about our experience. And so that is more the phenomenology or the experience part of it, experiential view of consciousness. Here is a neuroscience view of consciousness. But again, you can find this on Google and a lot of books. So you must have known about people in coma, people under general. What happens when we go into an operation theater undergoing surgery? So you are given some anesthesia, right? So what happened at that time? Are you conscious or not? Your functions are happening, but you are not really conscious about what is happening, right? Again, coma patients are not conscious. Similarly, there are different varieties of consciousness from a physical body or a neurobiology perspective. Deep sleep is different, light sleep is different, drowsiness is different, conscious wakefulness is different. And again, even in sleep, you have the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, which your consciousness is different. And you are in a state of dreaming, so that is different. Some dreams you'll be able to remember, some dreams you'll not be able to remember. And then there are states where you are minimally conscious, which is when you are sick, when you are totally down, when you are dull, right? So they are not really conscious of what it is, right? And then there are other states where your basically body is functioning, but absolute A lot of people, when they undergo deep grief, it's another state where they absolutely don't, not conscious of anything. They let go of everything, and then they are in that state, right? So again, as you see here, according to neuroscience, consciousness is a function of two things: awareness and wakefulness. Some of you did get it right. It's about awareness. So each of these also indicate different degrees of consciousness. But we are not going to go deep into the neuroscience view, it's neurobiology view, but we're going to talk about a higher dimension of consciousness, more about experiencing consciousness, the way I mentioned in the previous slides. So what is consciousness? A very simple definition of consciousness is this: consciousness is a state of being aware of an external object or something within oneself, such as thoughts, feelings, memories, or sensations. Right? It's being aware. It's not about remembering. Remembering is memory. It's about the past. Being aware is about being the present moment. So consciousness is a state of awareness. But then the key thing here is by knowing that you are not them. And that is what we talk about from a spiritual science perspective. You are not the mind. You are not the body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are not your memories. You are not your ideas. Right? And who are you? It is that person, it is that thing that has a body. It is that thing that has the thought. It has that thing that has a feeling. It has that thing that has a memory. So consciousness is a state of being aware. It's a state of awareness, but by knowing that you are not them, you are not the thought, right? So that is it. It's almost like I always give an analogy of electric current. An electric current passes through your house, through the wire. Right, but what it does too many things, right? But for your fan to run, for your lights to switch on, for your computer to be on, there are different realizations of that one electric power. So electric power is like the consciousness that we have, but how we use it is a lot different, and the usage is the thoughts, feelings, memories, sensations. And electric power is different, a fan is different, a light is different, right? So that is what, so you need to know that consciousness is different. Consciousness is awareness. Again, a very English literary meaning of consciousness. The word conscious comes from a Latin word, couple of Latin words. Con means with, and sire means to know. So to be conscious means to know with. To know with what? To know with the awareness that we have, to know with the knowledge that we have, to know with the intelligence that we have. We'll cover more of those. So it's about being aware of whatever things, being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your emotions. That is consciousness. Right? Again, there's a broad spectrum. We will cover more of that in a while. So why are we not in the same state of consciousness always? Why are we not fully conscious always? Right, so there is again this analogy of the consciousness, that light of consciousness, like the moon that you see in this picture, right? So the consciousness is always there. Consciousness doesn't diminish, consciousness doesn't increase. But what happens is there are these clouds that cover the light of consciousness. There are these clouds that cover the light of consciousness. The clouds could be anger, your doubt, your confusions, your sickness, your emotions, your ideas about something. If you are listening to me and you're thinking, oh my God, what is he talking about? He doesn't know anything, then that is a thought, that is an emotion that is clouding your real state of consciousness. If you're thinking, oh, wonderful, this is a lot of things I'm learning, that's another thought. And that is again clouding your consciousness, right? So the clouds or the thoughts or the emotions, that because of that, you feel different states of consciousness, all the things that we've learned earlier, right? So what changes? Consciousness doesn't change. The power coming in inside of your wires don't change. Obviously, they come in at a specific voltage. But what changes is the instruments or the devices. They convert that electric power into something useful. Same way here, in all those states that we talked about initially, when you are sick, when you are having an emotional thought, or you are analyzing something, when you are happy, when you are seeing the miracle, what changes is your awareness changes. Your awareness diminishes, awareness increases. There is something that limits or constrains your full awareness. That is because your energy changes. So your energy within you changes. When you are angry, you have a different frequency of energy. When you are happy, energy is at a high frequency, right? So depending on that, you're able to think a lot better. For example, when you are angry, we keep saying, oh, have you lost your mind? You're not able to think properly. The ability to think is part of our conscious mind or our conscious brain. So you lose the capacity to think fully, think normally when we are angry, right? So what changes there? Consciousness is still there, but there is something that clouded your anger. The emotion of anger has flooded your brain and body. That's why you're not able to think. So what changes is energy. Consciousness does not change. And that is what we, from a spiritual science perspective, you can give it any name. Consciousness, your inner divinity, consciousness is your soul, whatever it is, that never changes. Right? So what changes is the things that go in front of consciousness. And then in all spiritual practices, the idea is kind of to remove all the things that hide, remove all the things that constrain our awareness of consciousness through whatever practices is what the ultimate goal of all spiritual practices. And your level of energy impacts the quality of your consciousness. When you are sick, you're absolutely low of energy. Can you do any deeply conscious work? Can you do planning for a meeting presentation? Can you study something new, deep, go do some differential calculus in maths or some engineering subject or whatever? Can you do some writing? It's very difficult. You can't be creative at that moment because your level of energy is down. That is physical. But similarly, any kind of emotional thing also, you're not about, you're not really completely conscious. When you are completely conscious, you're completely connected to your inner intelligence, you can do miracles. And that is where this whole course is going, right? What is needed for you to be in that state of consciousness always or most of the day, where you can do wonders, where you can do things like healing yourself, things like manifesting a lot of stuff, right? So your level of energy impacts the quality of your consciousness. What affects your level of energy? Some of you have been attending some of my earlier sessions on mind to matter know this. Emotions. Emotion is nothing but energy in motion. So your level of energy is affected by your thoughts, your feelings. Food is another important thing that affects your level of energy. To take some heavy food, obviously you feel drowsy. Remember, we saw that drowsiness is a different state of consciousness. You feel asleep. You don't feel like taking any decision. And some habits, right? We go through certain things. Maybe you need something at some point of time, right? Or you go through. So habits is another thing that makes you lose energy. Illness and tiredness, I think we spoke about, right? So emotion is nothing but energy in motion. And you can have positive emotions, higher emotions, like love, like gratitude, like thankfulness. So those really elevate your energy and expand your consciousness. But the science behind it will get there slowly. So what affects your level of energy? Emotions. Again, here are some few examples. So some of us feel very energized when we go to work or when we come off from work. Some of us leave with same energy from work. When you go finish your work and come back. Some of us feel very drained coming back from work, right? So again, it could be the same work. 3 different people can have 3 different energy levels coming out that evening from work. Why is that? One is obviously there is a lot of energy drain. You treat things because of your thoughts and emotions. Well, we'll come to that the other point here. And then there are people who think work is a grind, work is a flow, and then they really love doing work, right? And then my return on investment is average, whatever. So different states for different people. And people doing the same thing will be feeling different when they come out from that particular task. So as I say, 100% of our experience comes from our thoughts. You could have 3 people watch the same movie, come out with a different perception. 3 people doing the same kind of software job or a teaching job at the same school in the same condition. One person might come out feeling very refreshed, very enthusiastic. The other person might be thinking, oh my God, why am I doing it? When am I going to go do something else, right? So what our experience is shaped by our thoughts and by our emotions. Again, we've heard that in several classes. Our moment-to-moment experience creates our perception of reality. And where does that experience comes from? where does that experience come from? From whatever we know. So knowledge, we know something, someone has told us something, and that shapes our thoughts, that programs our mind, and we feel this is what is. Even though I am very good at, let's say, writing software, if someone said becoming a movie star or becoming a musician is what gives you fame, not writing software for a living, then I'm always thinking about becoming a movie star. I'm always thinking about doing a pop album or a pop concert, right? So what is it? There is that knowledge someone has put in, but my experience is totally different. I dislike the current set of work that I do. And I perceive, I know, okay, looking at a lot of people becoming famous, doing certain things, I perceive that is what is, and that is my wisdom at that particular point of time. So knowledge plus experience plus perception shapes wisdom. And then everything, the basis is your thoughts and your emotions, your beliefs, your attitudes. We'll cover more of those, but the point here is wisdom. What you know expands consciousness and elevates energy. For example, some of you might, through this course, you might know, oh my God, oh, that is why I've always been feeling very low. And here is how I can, when I am very low, when I am very worried about something, here is a technique. Suppose you learn some technique during this course, and that's a flash of thought for you. Oh, wow, I can do it. Or we'll start doing some breath work, relaxation exercise. We'll start doing some meditation. You'll feel different. Oh, wow. So that was so different, right? So those epiphanies, those insights, any new knowledge, any new learnings, meaning, once you discover a meaning in what you do, your purpose of life, right? Then obviously your level of consciousness totally shifts. So wisdom expands consciousness and elevates energy. So we spoke about consciousness, we spoke about energy, and we spoke about wisdom. We'll cover more of wisdom in subsequent sessions. So these three are interrelated. And Brahmarshi Patriji has written several articles on this. So energy, wisdom, and consciousness. Low energy diminishes your ability to be conscious. More wisdom, insights, epiphanies elevates or expands your consciousness. Similarly, higher energy through right food, through right thoughts, through right feelings, through right emotions, expands your consciousness. That means you're exposed more to that particular consciousness, right? So these three are interrelated, and that is where most of the spiritual practices focus on one or more of these, right? They're completely consciousness-based, completely energy-focused, or completely wisdom-based, and then some of them have a combination of these. And that is why, if some of you might have seen the logo of Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement, we have the energy, wisdom, consciousness triangle in the middle of it. And it says, be a light unto yourself. That light is light of consciousness, the light of divinity, the light of godliness, light of soul within you, which is already intelligent, right? So energy, wisdom, and consciousness are the key for our being and performing completely mindful in every moment of or every moment of our life. And these three need to be aligned, and that is where coherence comes in. Right? What is coherence? Coherence is when your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned. Coherence is when your body is in tune with your mind is in tune with your innate intelligence. If your inner soul, inner wanting, inner feeling is wanting to do something, but you're doing something else, there is a gap, so you are misaligned, you're not coherent. That is what gives you all the stress, all the pain. If you're aligned to your purpose, then you are a lot more coherent. Similarly, your body might be, you might be feeding a lot of things to your body, but at a mind level, you might be wonderfully talking great. But if you're not taking care of the body, then there is a mismatch. Coherence is not there, right? So this coherence project is basically about doing things, aligning your energy and wisdom with your consciousness, with your intelligence. And there is a deep science behind it. I mean, one of the classes will talk about doing these waves thing. And I think here is an example of it. There is something called heart-brain coherence that has been done by the Heart Math Institute in US. So what they do is they do some ECGs device it, and they measure your heart coherence, right? Your heart rate rhythm. I mean, our heart fluctuates between X number every minute. And then they keep measuring your heart rate at different points over several minutes, and it has to follow a pattern. And if you look at here, when you are anxious, when you are frustrated, when you are worried, when you go through those unhelpful emotions, the heart rate rhythm is very fluctuating. It is not aligned. It is not in a uniform manner. Whereas at the bottom of the chart, if you see positive emotions, appreciation, love, care, they get you into a very standard, very coherent heart rate rhythm. That is where we are going to. So this is where spirituality meets science, right? So all the spiritual texts talk about you need to be altruistic, you need to be loving, you need to be grateful, you need to be thankful, or you need to be peaceful, right? And all the negative emotions. So this is where your heart and brain coherence shows those. We'll cover a lot of such examples over the next few sessions as well. So coherence is nothing but being aligned with your intelligence, with being aligned with your inner consciousness, right? So again, Mike Murphy has written several books, and I think is a well-published guy. So if you can create a coherent vibration between your DNA, which is in your body, your mind and heart, you will have access to unimaginable power. That is where we are going. At the end of 6 weeks, you will clearly be able to explain this couple of statements to anybody in your circle. And you might have practiced some of those as well. As we will give you some midweek exercises as well when we are offline, so that you'll probably be able to do that. So 2 key steps to being coherent. When we talk about living in coherence, what are the 2 key steps for you to be in coherence? Number 1 is decluttering your mind, reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your existing habits. There are tons of practices. They're there in class 3, in session 3. I'll talk about, there are close to, I don't know, we have an inventory of around 53 tools, 53 techniques, but we will cover some of those which align with consciousness, altering the state of consciousness, right? So decluttering your mind, emptying your mind. And then once you empty your mind, you get connected to your consciousness. So that is when you start leveraging your true qualities of consciousness. That is, you start living yourself, living with your intelligence, living with your purpose. So what are the qualities of consciousness? So again, there is a wonderful book called, I think, 6 Qualities of Consciousness. Again, it's not just one book, but there are several other things that talk about it. So here are the 6 key attributes of consciousness. You can treat that as your divinity. You can treat that as your soul. Number 1, all of us have this, no doubt about it. So number 1, we are innately intelligent. We don't need to be a MSc, PhD, or whatever it is to be intelligent. Each of us have our own innate intelligence. Unfortunately, we've been programmed to think intelligence is equated to knowledge, right? So we are deeply intelligent. Our body has an innate intelligence for it to heal itself. We don't need those biochemical pills, right? So if you allow your body to heal itself, our nervous system has immense capacity to heal itself. So that is the intelligence of the body. Similarly, intelligence of mind. You know, a lot of people, a lot of great businessmen, a lot of wonderful people, a lot of spiritual masters who probably have not gone to a school, not read something. They've been doing wonderful things, flourishing businesses, flourishing communities, right? So they're all innately intelligent. It's about tapping to your intelligence. And the quality of consciousness is freedom. There's nothing to limit. Anything that's constraining you, anything that you feel constrained in any part of your life or on your moment, that means it is not of consciousness. It is your mind. Your mind, I think, we'll cover in class 4 on how your body and mind shape your consciousness. And one of the parts of the mind is ego. I think that we'll cover it a bit today. So anything that's restrictive constrains your consciousness. Anything that is free is your quality of consciousness, right? So free. Perfection. Anything that you do with deep consciousness, anything that you do with your superconscious abilities, it comes out absolutely perfect because it comes from your innate intelligence. And consciousness is collective. It's not just about you, right? your ability to be more conscious, ability to be at high energy level impacts people around you. And then there are collective consciousness of community, collective consciousness of society, collective consciousness of a country, right? It all depends. Again, everything is shaped by what they are programmed to. And another quality of consciousness is abundance. You want power, you want money, you want health, you already have it. You have an abundance of it. It is not that somebody else has the ability to be earning more money, not you. Somebody else has ability to be more healthy, not you. Abundance. It's like by nature, cosmic consciousness is always abundance. So abundance is another nature of consciousness. And the final thing is bliss, joy. Consciousness is not about being sorrowful. Consciousness is not about tying you down to specific things, right? When you are in that bliss state, you feel the power of consciousness. So any of these 6 qualities you feel at any point of time, you could call it attributes, you could call it states, whatever. But anytime you feel spontaneously intuitive, that means you're connected to the intelligence of your consciousness. Anytime you feel that you're absolutely free, you feel that sense of lightness, that means you're connected to the freedom quality of your consciousness. And a lot of times you do something that comes out perfect automatically. Where did it come from? That came from your inner intelligence, your intuition. And then sometimes you start thinking very empathetically, very thinking for others. Oh my God, this should be there. You get kind of emanate love that comes from the collective attribute of your consciousness. And anytime you feel abundant, oh, I have enough. Materially, you might have little, but the feeling of abundance, oh, I have enough, I need to give, I want to give more. That comes from your abundance. Anytime that you are absolutely joyful without a reason, right? It could be just meeting a friend or playing with a child. So those are joy without a reason, right? And it is not hedonic. It doesn't come because someone did something to you. So that is bliss. That is a state of bliss. So as I said, there are 2 things what coherence brings you. 2 steps to being coherent. One is decluttering your mind. Only then you can start. As I said, decluttering your mind is basically removing the clouds, removing the fog that actually clouds your the moon or the sunlight that you are in, right? And then it's removing the clouds or giving you the ability to remove the clouds whenever you want, managing it, not being at the mercy of it. The second thing is tapping into your innate sense of consciousness. We'll go through some exercises as well, allowing you to tap some of these. There are some exercises that will allow you to either do offline or at least help you experience some of these qualities as we go through the course. Right? So one last thing before I head off to the final section is, can you measure consciousness? We said consciousness goes up, goes down. But again, we also said consciousness is not the one that goes up or goes down, right? So measuring consciousness is not about, it's not that consciousness of this person is different, consciousness of that person is different. So all of us emanate the same light from within, but the way consciousness impacts is through energy, right? And for example, I'm just taking an analogy of a light bulb. You have a 100-watt bulb, you know the light it emanates, probably the incandescent bulb nowadays, LED lights pretty much give light the same everywhere. But you cloud it with something, you obstruct it with something, obviously the light that falls behind the shadow of the object is less. So that is what it is, right? The obstruction is what your energy, your thoughts, your emotions. And once you remove it, you're still exposed to that particular light, right? What varies is not your consciousness. What varies is the things that obstruct your consciousness. The objects that are unhelpful things of mind. As you remove those mind stuff, as you remove the thoughts and emotions that are different for different people, you're more exposed to an inner light of wisdom. You move into higher energy levels. And that is how you measure consciousness. And there is this gentleman called David Hawkins, who's written several books. He's published a model that's called levels of consciousness. Again, it's more about the energy levels, right? And then he says, at any point of time, you are in one of these states. So we are in one of these states. And our level of consciousness is based on the average time that we spend in each of these states. Throughout the day, I mean, some of us are angry for a few minutes. Some of us are desirous of something. Some of us are fearful. Some of us are, we kind of harbor some kind of guilt, right? There is a sense of shame that we are afraid of. So each of these is different. So there are different categories. We will cover these. We'll talk a bit about next week when we cover different models of consciousness. But this will be kind of a measure for us as we continue our journey into coherence, as we continue our journey to be getting closer to our consciousness. Right? So different levels. And then the way they measure it is, okay, so I don't know whether I have that here. So the way they measure it is our energy levels get reflected in our nervous system. Obviously, there is this yogic wisdom about nadis and prana, so you can usually measure it that way. But our energy, our nervous system also tells you how conscious you are or your energy levels. They have something called muscle testing. Some of you might have heard about it. And there is a value associated to each of these levels, as books talk about it, and that is how they arrived at it. And as we continue our spiritual quest, as we continue getting closer to consciousness, our energy levels increase. So the acceptance, for example, one of the things that all spiritual science teaches us, acceptance, let go. That is at a higher level of energy, higher level of consciousness, right? Love, joy, peace, enlightenment, each of these are at a higher level. Whereas anger, desire, fear, guilt, shame, everything is at lower level. You can, some of the chakras is one good model of being, reflects consciousness, right? You are in the lower levels, then it reflects lower energy levels and lower alignment to your consciousness. And in the higher energy levels, you're more aligned to your consciousness, your intelligence, the qualities of consciousness we talked about, right? So that is about the levels of consciousness. We'll cover more about in the next few weeks. And the last thing is, why is consciousness important? We've been talking about consciousness for so long, and we're going to do a course on it. And we are, I mean, at least I know at least 90% of the people here are have been meditating or been following some kind of spiritual practice, right? And the base of all spiritual practice is about that consciousness, making you a lot more conscious, making your be in the present moment, removing all your negative, making sure. So again, it's not about removing negativity, not about removing negative emotions. It's making sure negative emotions don't bother you, right? Someone who is spiritually enlightened will also get angry, but the anger doesn't bother them, right? So that's what it is about. So why consciousness is important? That's where I want to kind of dive a bit into the yogic science view of consciousness. We will again cover this more in subsequent sessions. This session is kind of an overview type, right? So some of you might have heard about both Bhagavad Gita talks about it and Yoga Sutras talk about it, and there are very similar references. I think there is a wonderful book called Game of Life, which talks more about some of these from the words and sayings of Bible and Jesus Christ. So very similar concept. We'll see if we can cover that over the next few weeks. So you must have heard about this concept of Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is nature. I mean, it's a Hindi word, Sanskrit word. Purusha is your consciousness, right? Purusha is defined as a witnessing consciousness. Remember when I talked about the definition of consciousness? Definition of consciousness is about being aware of your thoughts, of your things, right? But knowing that you are not that, knowing you are not that, right? So that means it's disassociated from you. So Purusha is that witnessing consciousness, but all my thoughts, all my emotions, everything are something else outside of consciousness. That is what it is. And more often than not, we get identified with our thoughts, we get identified with our emotions. And yogic science, some of you might have heard about it. We have this thing about chitta, buddhi, ahamkara, and manas. So we will cover a bit. So these are the things that obstruct us from being with our consciousness. If you see here, again, some of you might have heard about the divine masculine and feminine principle, right? And Shiva is the embodiment of consciousness, whereas Shakti is more the embodiment of Prakriti. And both need to be combined. And that is the whole goal of all spiritual science, right? So we want to be aligned with our consciousness within ourselves. We are more outside in. We are more identified with our role, with our work, with our material world, and material comfort. But now we are taking a journey back inside so that we combine with our consciousness. That's the journey we're going to be in. That is what is coherence. Alignment between the material world that you are working in with your innate consciousness. When does it happen? When we start executing it, operating from that witness consciousness. So here's another model, right? Chitta is pure awareness, pure intelligence, pure consciousness. When you are aligned with the chitta, you are operating with those 6 qualities of consciousness. What prevents you? What are the clouds that cloud that consciousness? Number one is your intellect. Oh, I know this, I know that. My intellect says I don't do this, don't do that, right? So it kind of prevents you. It gets programmed through the knowledge that you have, and then allows you to be away from your consciousness. Your ego, your identity. Oh, I need to do this. This is what is important. That's what important. Again, a programming part of it. And your manas. Manas is basically all your emotional sensations, right? As you keep listening to it, you might be feeling hungry. Where does that hunger come from? That hunger comes from your senses. You're able to feel a sense of pain, sense of sense of discomfort, right? And you're able to, if you're going to touch something, you're able to hear what I'm saying through my senses. All that is coming through the manas, which is more the sensory mind, right? And thought is also the 6th sense. So we will cover some of these. Again, a lot of things are there in our spiritual literature as well. And as we today, I mean, generally, when we talk about outside in, it's moving towards Maya and materialism. So the top to bottom is the left to right in the previous slide, towards Prakriti, right? So moving Maya and materialism. Materialism is Prakriti. And then what we are doing as part of this coherence course and all the meditation course and all the spiritual practices is about moving back to Purusha. Prakriti is a means to Purusha. Right? Again, there's a lot of, we'll not cover all that, why there is this Prakriti, why there is this Purusha, why there is this mind, why are we born here? So that is subject of a different course. But in this course, we will talk about how do I get beyond the mind. When I say beyond the mind will be functioning, but how do I get beyond the mind, beyond the influence of the mind, beyond the trappings of the mind, to be with my awareness, to be with my consciousness. That is a goal of this course, right? So I hope I was able to lay the ground for what consciousness is, why consciousness is important, and a couple of models of consciousness. We will go through these in the subsequent classes. So the next few weeks, we will talk more about why are we unable to be fully conscious all the time, more or less because of our programming, our thoughts, beliefs, attitudes. Where does consciousness reside? Both from a physiology, I mean, there's again a common thing coming from a neuroscience perspective, consciousness resides in the brain. The answer is no. Brain is just an instrument that manifests consciousness for you. Right? I mean, you must have heard about a lot of people, coma, for example. What happens in coma? Right? So you are not conscious, but your brain is still functioning. All your body parts are still functioning without which brain. So your consciousness doesn't reside in the brain nor in the heart. So these are instruments for you to realize consciousness, your ability to be conscious. We'll talk about it. What are the different stages and states of consciousness? Several different models. How can we expand and elevate our state of consciousness? Different tools, techniques for altering the states of consciousness. I'm very angry. I'm a very confused state. How do I get to a peaceful state? Right? How do I get to a happier state? How do I get out of this particular mental and emotional feeling? So you do it through breath work, energy work. We'll do it through some insightful work, some exercises that kind of click that switch different in your brain, your consciousness. And how can we use these tools in our daily lives? Again, one of the things that I always focus on, it's about practical spirituality, right? And Patriji always talks about the middle path. It's about how do I use all these tools? Yeah, there is Bhagavad Gita, there is Yoga Sutra, there is the Bible, there is the Quran, there is tons of those practices. But how do I use that in my day-to-day life is what is more important, rather than me getting information and deriving joy from knowing that information. All right. So with that, my dear friends, what we will do is we will get into a brief session of conscious breathing. And before we get into the questions, I'll guide you through something. So what we're going to do is this meditation process. This is going to be a meditation, right? When I say meditation, it's about being with yourself. That is all. Meditation is a process, is a procedure. Here is the procedure for meditation. Some of you might be well aware. So clasp your hands I'll show you the practice once I close the slide. So clasping your hands, crossing your legs, closing your eyes, bringing your attention onto your breath, observing your breath as you inhale and exhale normally, and continue following your breath as you inhale and exhale normally. You need to be conscious of your normal, natural breathing. It is difficult. Why is it difficult? Because you will keep bothered by thoughts, you'll be bothered by sensations, you'll be bothered by distractions. But the trick is not worry about that and continuously bring your attention back to your breathing. So to do that, we're going to do a small relaxation exercise before we dive into the breath mindfulness meditation. So what we do is there is something called coherent breathing. This is another technique that we'll talk about in session 3. So there is a science behind coherent breathing. It's also called samavritti in pranayama. It's about equal breathing. So we'll start with 5 minutes of equal breathing, slow, easy inhale to count of 4. You'll count yourself. Inhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. No holding, no deep breathing, just your normal, natural breathing. Only thing is you're slowing down your breathing. And be conscious of your breathing, where the movements of your breathing happen, right? It could be, let me just stop it. It could be in your chest, it could be in your tummy, that is conscious breathing. You have to do belly breathing, whatever it is, right? Be conscious of your breathing. And that's one element of being in the present moment. So we'll do a relaxation for 5 minutes, which is conscious, slow breathing. And then you'll slowly get into observing your normal, natural breath. But again, being with your breath, again about being conscious. Your thoughts will come and try to distract your attention, but you'll have to move your attention back to your breathing, becoming more aware of your breathing, right? And over time, we'll add a bit more of guided meditation. We'll add a lot of other steps. But today, it's going to be as simple as that. 5 minutes of relaxation, relaxed, slow breathing, and then get into your normal, natural breathing, which is also called anapanasati in Buddhism, which is being with your in-breath and out-breath. And that itself works wonders. And there's a science behind it. We'll go to it at some point of time. Okay, and then we'll take questions. Again, please don't worry about what question to ask, what is going to happen. So please leave the questions to a bit later. So for now, my dear friend, just remove your spectacles, close your hands, close your eyes, clasp your hand this way, cross your feet at some point, across your ankles. If you're sitting on a chair, any comfortable posture is good. There's no specific way that you need to sit, but feel free, feel comfortable, feel at ease, no tension. As you continue to do that, just do slow breathing as you inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. If 4 is difficult, if you want to do 3, you can do 3 and slowly move on to 4. Over time, will get you to 6 counts. So slow, conscious breathing. And then we'll also play some music as you get into meditation. Close your eyes. Get into this posture, please. Clasp your hands. Absolute ease. Slow, conscious breathing. As you inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do not hold your breath. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Observe all the movements in your chest, in your stomach as you inhale slowly and exhale slowly. The key point is being conscious of all that. Complete focus on your breathing. This equal breathing is a good relaxation exercise you can do anytime, anywhere. No deep breaths, no holding of your breath. Slow, easy, long inhale, count of 4, and slow, easy, long exhale. Continue to be with your slow breathing for 2 more minutes. Now slowly start observing your normal, natural breath. Slowly get out of your slow breathing and return to your normal, natural breathing. Just observe the way you inhale. Observe, follow your breath. Observe the way air goes into your nose. There's a feeling in your throat, in your lungs. There are movements in your chest or your abdomen. And as you exhale, similar movements, similar feelings. You can feel the air as it goes in and out of your nose as well. Don't worry if you're not able to follow your full breath. Continue to follow your breath to the maximum possible extent. Your awareness of your breath will improve as you practice. Our breath is the first and foremost tool or instrument that will help us enhance our consciousness. The breath allows us to be in the moment. Do not analyze your thoughts, do not analyze your breath. Just observe. Observe the way your breath flows, all the sensations that you feel due to your breathing. It is often said, the mind is a king of senses, but the breath is a king of mind. You can control your mind by just being with your breath, being more aware of your breath. That is what this breathfulness meditation allows you to practice. According to Buddha's Anapanasati Sutra, you become conscious of 4 things by just being with your breath. And that is what we will strive to achieve as we go through the meditations every week. First, being with your breath makes you become aware of your body, the movements in your body, the sensations in your body due to your breathing. You become aware, you become mindful of those. Without analysis, you just watch, just observe. Second, being with your breath makes you be more aware or conscious of your feelings. You become more adept to observe or notice when you're feeling bad, when you feel good. When your emotions are bad. when your emotions are good. Continue to be with your breath, my dear friends. No analysis, just 10 more minutes. If you become aware of any thoughts and distractions, bring your attention back to your breath immediately once you notice that. The third thing, the being with your breath, allows you to become more aware of or more mindful of is your mind. As we continue to be with our breath, practice being with our breath, we'll be able to be aware of the thoughts that we are getting, the emotions that we are undergoing, a fraction of a second before those come into reality. It provides you the space for you to alter your action, your thought, or your behavior. It all starts with the basic practice of feeling your body with your breath. As you continue to be with your breath for longer durations of time, as your attention is completely focused on your breath for longer durations of time, start getting connected to your intelligence, your intuitions, your insights. That is the fourth thing that happens. You become more mindful of yourself, your intelligence, your purpose, and the universal truths. Just continue to be with your normal, natural breathing. Discover the joy of your beautiful breath. As your attention on your breath expands for longer duration, your brain moves into slower states, which releases the neurochemicals responsible for healing, responsible for insights, responsible for feeling good. Just be conscious of your breathing alone. If you're having thoughts about the future or the past, let them go and return to the moment. Your breath is a great anchor for making you be in the present moment. Without any other effort. Being with the breath activates the parts of your nervous system that are responsible for relaxation and healing. Just by being aware of your breath, nothing else is needed. Wonderful, my dear friends. While you continue to be anchored in your breath, let's express gratitude to everyone around you and everything around you. Feel the emotion of gratitude, thankfulness in your heart. And express your thank you in your mind to all the situations, the people and things that you've experienced the last 24 hours. Express your gratitude to the wisdom of ages, to all the great masters, through whom we learned today that we are consciousness. We are intelligence. We are divinity. We are abundance. We are freedom. We are bliss. We are not, there is not any of these. Our purpose is to move through the clouds of ignorance of fear. Remove the clouds of desire, dislike, anger, hatred, and be one with who we really are. Finally, express gratitude to your own self for your time, commitment, effort, and intention to know the wisdom, practice the wisdom, and to become your fully conscious self. Now, my dear friends, slowly become aware of your body, become aware of your surroundings. And slowly unclasp your fingers, place them on your eyes. Open your eyes when you are ready. So wonderful, my dear friends. I hope it was a good way of relaxation, good way of being with your breath. Just being with your breath works wonders. And that's what we will continue to do over the next few weeks. We know the science behind it and why and what of it. As I mentioned, next few weeks, we're going to know more about, next week is about understanding the different models of consciousness. As you know, we keep attending a lot of these classes. We listen to a lot of masters. We read through a lot of books, and there is a model everywhere. So next week, we're going to look at a few of those models and align it to one simple model that we want to follow that's going to be practical for all of us. And the following week, we'll be practicing several techniques. We'll understand the techniques for getting more deeper into different levels of consciousness. So please stay tuned to this course. It's just one Saturday evening, but over time, from week 2 onwards, we'll provide you a lot more during the week sessions. Please join the Telegram group that is there in your email. And I think we have a Facebook group also. Hopefully, we'll send a mail for those of you who want to interact on Facebook. So with that, we'll take a few questions. I know this being the first session, there shouldn't be too many questions. We've covered quite a bit on what is going to happen later. So if you have any questions, please type it on the chat window or raise your hand. So raise the hand in Zoom. Yes, we have Tarun. So Tarun, you have a question? You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sir, I'm suffering from OCD from last 15 years. And whenever I am trying to do Anapanasati meditation, I could not do it because the destructive thoughts cloud me so much, and I'm taking psychiatric treatment also from last 15 years. I'm taking pills. I'm not able to concentrate on my job. I'm very much, I don't know, I think for me, life is a very frightening experience for me right now. It's being like a nightmare for me. I don't know. I don't know what to do, whom to. I tried to practice, but I could not. I could not.
How long have you been doing, sir?
Sir, I have been doing from last 4 months,
4 months.
but I am not able to do, and my stomach always stays upset because of overthinking or the destructive thoughts that come into my mind. I'm, but my intentions are very pure. I want to build an orphanage. I want to build a. I want to build a huge orphanage. I want to make my life count. But how can it come true? I don't know. I don't know the tools. I don't know the technique.
Okay, wonderful, sir. There are tools, there are techniques. I think it's a little bit more of guidance, very specific to you. All right. So what we will do is from week 2, after week 2, we're going to form some focused groups as part of this course, right? So you can become, then every group will be mentored by someone. So we have a coherence guide who will kind of guide you with some breath work. For example, the coherent breathing that did you try the coherent breathing at the start of our meditation today?
No, sir.
Long breathing. So you can search for coherent breathing on website, or there is an article on the coherentminds.org as well. So it's basically breathing long in, breathing long out. So that's a wonderful relaxation technique. Anytime you can practice. It isn't as intense as meditation, but it's more a relaxing exercise. You can start practicing that, but however, continue staying with us. In week 3, you will be assigned to a focus group where you'll get a lot more guidance from one of the teachers.
And I don't want to eat medicines. I'm very fed up of eating medicines.
Yes.
The psychiatric drugs, they keep me drowsy all the time. They keep me. I don't feel at all good. At all good.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good to always be dependent, and I know there's a lot of chemical. Everything is biochemical, right? I mean, it creates a lot of chemical changes in your body. It's not pleasant. So, sir, just hold on, just attend our next couple of sessions and then become part of a group. And I'm sure we'll be able to help you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Arun. Any other questions? Yes, Usha Parekh, madam. Can unmute yourself.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
To start with is the definition of consciousness. When we say that, somebody steals or somebody kills somebody, we say that, don't you have any conscious? How can you do such things? So what are we then addressing? The experience, the energy, or I'm not clear about it. And the second thing is abundance and bliss. I thought they are the feelings one has, emotional feeling that I get. So I'm a little confused about the definition of consciousness. Thank you.
Okay, good question, madam. So when we say, don't you have conscience? So that is conscience. That's not really the consciousness part of it. Don't you have any conscience? Why are you cheating somebody, right? Why are you hurting someone? Someone would want to do things intentionally. So that means he doesn't have conscience, in the sense it's more about empathy, right? Don't you have something that can justify it to you, right? So that is, we are not talking about that. We're not talking about conscience, but nevertheless, conscience, an integral part of conscious is also consciousness, right? Once you are conscious that you have everything you need, right, then obviously you will not be hurting others, you will not be cheating others. So over the next couple of weeks, next couple of classes, that will be clear. So that is the difference between conscience and consciousness. So those are different, and then we'll cover consciousness more. The second question on abundance and bliss. Yes, abundance and bliss are a feeling, right? The same thing with when you say fear or anger, again, those are all feeling. I mean, you saw the map of consciousness out there. So when you say abundance and bliss, the idea is you already are abundant. I mean, there is a hedonic aspect to it, which is the feeling. But here what we are saying is you have the immense capacity to do, to manifest whatever you want. I mean, for example, money, health, it is not limited to some people, right? So you are abundant in yourself. It is a feeling. When it is a feeling, it is hedonic, which is of the mind. But here we're talking about the quality of when you are completely conscious, those are all inherent to you. And it manifests as bliss in meditation. In advanced stage of meditation, you will feel a sense of bliss and peace that is not of the mind. You will not feel that feeling, but you will go through that, and after that you will feel, oh, it was very pleasant, it was very peaceful. So that's again, those are different qualities once you get into deep meditation. But again, there are again all these words are overloaded, I accept. But what we are talking about is not about the mind. There is an attribute of that for the mind, but what we're talking about going beyond the mind, so that you'll start realizing when you are in a deep state of relaxation, deep state of meditation. So we'll go through that, but till then, yes, the definitions are a bit fluid.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions? Any other questions on the chat window? I know there may not be too many today. There's a question, direct question. It says, is it possible to get cured physical ailments by this meditation? I'm assuming when you're saying physical ailments, it is more psychosomatic ailments. Yes, you can get over any psychosomatic ailments through this meditation. Psychosomatic is basically caused by mind, caused by stress. And we have a lot of instances where people have cured themselves of psychosomatic illnesses like blood pressure, like diabetes, like anxiety, right? And sleep issues. So all those are very common as people continue going through this practice of meditation. And it generally increases or enhances or accelerates healing as well. So that is an answer to you. All right, so looks like we don't have any more questions. The recording is available on YouTube. You can go onto the Pyramid Valley International YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, type in Pyramid Valley International, then you can search for the Living in Coherence course. You should be able to find that. Due to high energy during meditation, my left ear has started ringing recently. So yes, there will be a bit of these emotional issues that keep come up surface during meditation. Again, nothing to worry about it. If it is bothering you, the trick is to focus on that. Focus on what is bothering you. It could be a pain, could be a thought, could be an issue. The trick is once you start focusing on it, it will die down. It will vanish. Again, some of this you can ask in that focus group so that you can get some individual guidance. So all right, my dear friends, I think hope it was a helpful class, and please do share information about this class to your friends, to your family. And again, it's just a couple of hours on a Saturday evening, and a lot more new insights will help people. And this practicing this group exercises and group meditation throughout the 6 weeks will help you. And then there'll be a lot of exercises that we will give you as we go along. And today, just the beginning, we covered why consciousness matters, what is consciousness, and an overview of things to come. With that, I'll allow you to enjoy your weekends. So we'll see you next Saturday. In between, you'll keep getting some information over email and the Telegram group. But please do join me next Saturday at the same time, 5 p.m. IST, which is 7:30 a.m. Eastern time in the US, and then an afternoon time in UK and Europe. With that, thank you very much, and have a nice weekend, my dear friends.
Recording stopped.
Welcome to the Pyramid Valley International, Bengaluru, India. The pyramid is meant for meditation. It has got the high energies. Enjoy the high energies of the Maitreya Buddha pyramid and the serene circumstances of this valley. Spiritual science is the basis for all other sciences. In spiritual science, we understand that we are all gods, come here of our own accord onto this earth planet to see that the earth planet becomes a heaven and not a hell. How we can transform this hell into a heaven, that is the subject matter of spiritual science. And masters of spiritual sciences are the experts in spiritual sciences. Meditation is the doorway for enlightenment. Enlightenment is the doorway for welfare, health, wealth, well-being, and joys in life. Meditation is the foundation of spirituality. Spirituality is the superstructure built on the foundation of meditation. Everybody should dedicate a couple of hours every day for meditation. Every day, as we dedicate our life to meditation, we become a source of inspiration, joy, energy to everybody around, everything around, every being around. We emanate energy. We want to see the whole world become a joyful place for every being, every animal being, every plant being, every mineral being. That is the duty of every human being, to provide joy and energy to every other being.